Hey guys, welcome back to day 13 of our press to handstand progression. So we're going to start with our warm-up, and straddle is going to be good for us this morning. So sitting up into a straddle, if we struggle to get into this position, let's aim for the straightest legs as we can with our torso in the straightest and upright position as we can. So if we tend to sit here in our straddle, let's take those hands behind the back and push ourselves into a good upper body position. If you are really comfortable in straddle, then we can come down to the elbow or maybe even farther than that. Okay, wrist stretches, big important one for today's work. I like to stretch my wrist one at a time so I don't put too much weight on that wrist, but we are going to be doing some press lowers today, so those wrists will need a good stretch out. Remember, we can always add some wrist circles to this or take a little longer if we need to with those. Adding in mountain climbers today, just to get the heart rate up a little bit. We're gonna jump and switch the feet for 10 reps. We're gonna get into some plank rocks. So into a plank position, let's go downward to facing dog, back out to a plank, downward facing dog, and back out to a plank. So 10 there, and then we'll wrap it up with 10 cats and cows. Okay, 2 rounds of this, guys. That's gonna be 2 rounds of a straddle stretch, wrist stretches, 10 mountain climbers, 10 plank rocks to downward facing dog, and 10 cats and cows. All right, so starting with our hollow body pull downs today, we've got 5 sets of 10. I'm gonna hook a band to something that's sturdy around the bottom of my bed, a dresser, something that's not gonna pull away or move while you're using it. Okay, we're gonna stretch out the band, and we're gonna lay down on our back so the band has no tension when our arms are over our chest. So no tension. Feeling pretty good. So pulling down to create tension, we want our hands to be about shoulder width apart. And I'm going to keep my wrists in a good straight position. We don't want them pulling back like this. So let's make sure we keep those wrists nice and straight. Now, I want to get into a hollow position here. Very important that we get the low back into the floor. So we want to push that low back down. If you guys have space here, this is not good. So push that down. We're going to get into a hollow, low back on the floor, and we're going to pull with straight arms. 2 and 3. If we're struggling to keep the low back down, let's go into knees into chest and pull down to the shins. 2, 3. See if you guys can get all 10 without taking a break. And we have 5 sets of 10 total. So rest is needed between sets, but really aim to get all 10 without stopping. Big takeaway here. Low back has to stay into the floor. So whatever we need to do to make that happen, pulling on the knees, laying the head back on the floor, let's make that happen. Nice straight arm, straight wrist, and pulling down to our waist. Okay, 5 sets of 10. Then we move into V-ups. All right, lots of core stuff today. Our V-ups is 4 sets of 10 repetitions. Idea here is that we keep a really tight body position at the bottom. So we want to be hollow, sit up and touch the toes, sit up and touch the toes. If we relax down here at the bottom, it's really hard to get tight again before we kind of snap back up to that V position. But if your hamstrings are real tight, it's really hard to get into that V position. So we can always modify with a snapped boat pose for the same effect. Okay, straight legs if you can get them there, but bent knees if you cannot. 4 sets of 10. Lastly today, we've got our press lowers. Now, I'm going to show you from my hands. In the video, the Performance Plus programming that we've been following pretty closely, it's freestanding. I don't have that. If you do, you're a badass. But I don't, and hopefully someday I will. But for now, I'm just going to go from my hands. Hands are less RX, I would say, than a freestanding, but still, that's going to be too much for some of us. So, headstand, okay? That's going to be the most modified version of this. So, headstand with a low bench. Remember to put the top of your head on an ab mat. We want to be in this nice triangle shape. So, hands are going to support more weight than the top of the head. I'm going to just turn you around here. And see, I've got my chair set up and I've got some space for my hands and my head. Now, this is going to be 1 set of 5, 1 set of 3, and 1 set of 2. We want our feet on a low chair. Hands 6 inches from the wall, turned out just slightly. If you're in a headstand, your hands will be farther away from the wall, your head will be closer to the wall. We're going to start with our feet on the bench. I'm going to use that to press the back of my shoulders, my shoulder blades, and the back of my head into the wall. And from here, I'm going to bring my feet down and up into straddle and back down to the bench, okay? Here's position 1. Position 2, I'm going to float my feet to the floor. Position 3, little hop and popping up into straddle and lowering slowly back. So position 1, floating feet to the floor. Position 2, popping up and into a straddle for position 3, coming out. Watch how gracefully this is. Jeez. Obviously, coming out of all these movements with huge amounts of grace, okay? Yeah, day 13, guys. A lot of fun. Mostly abs, and just this guy today, feet on the bench. Hey, if you have any questions, why don't you give me a shout? We'll see you tomorrow.